All right, cool. So we are here with Max and Melissa. Pronounce your last name again for me.
Barruzza.
Barruzza. That's right. That's right.
She used to be us. Now she's Barruzza. We got married last year. So.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, so Matt. Well, both you guys. I know from the Harper's open mic that was the first. Oh, check you out. You got your Harper's Pub shirt on. That's awesome. Yeah, no, Harper's open mic holds a special place in my heart. Number one, it was like the first place in South Jersey that I started performing at. You know, I think my very first open mic was over on Sampson Street at Fergie's, but yeah, like a few days after that, I came to your open mic. And then, you know, I don't know, 6 months, a year later, I met Leanne at Harper's. So, and here we are.
Yeah,
Rest is history.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, you know, rest in peace, Harper's. It was such such an awesome experience doing it there.
It was.
I tried my best when I got the opportunity to take over from Jake Falana, who was hosting it, to recreate what the old Philly scene used to have, because that's what I came into when I started like playing music. Was Philly had a strong presence. There was bands like Bong Hits for Jesus and a bunch of like, you know, Great Socio, all these guys who had a reputation there were getting opener gigs on festivals, and they would have their open mic at Dobbs on South Street.
Oh, right.
Which that's another rest in peace.
I know.
I don't even know if they're a live venue
I
anymore.
think they are now, but it's just something different. Like they're called something different now. And...
Yeah, but it was like always that feel is that I wanted to capture. It was a very harmonious feeling through the whole community, and you had like John Fay, guys like that always hosting there.
Yeah,
and...
I just had John on last week. Yeah, his episode came out last week.
Yeah, that's you know, as local legend as you can get with John Fay. But I wanted that sense of community where it wasn't bands in competition with each other trying to say, how can I get the best gig or how can I do better than these guys? Everyone was building each other and pulling each other on the gigs. And that's the camaraderie that that was the best part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. I loved the community that you guys built, and then like everybody who was there was all, like you said, everybody was kind of rooting for each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I remember being up on stage and like forgetting like the second verse of a song, and I just remember people like, "You got this, you can do it." You know what I mean?
Well, I think the people who were already there as like locals, like I think they also were very supportive. Like even if they weren't there to see the acts, like they would always clap, they would always cheer. Then eventually they started making requests.
And the diversity that you would see there, like, you know, even Leanne would bring that mandolin and everything. I think their name were like Rosie Ives. They were like two synthesizer keyboards, and they would make all these beats up there. You get some guys with a looper pedal would come up and start doing crazy things, and then once in a while, a comedian would come in. Alex would read his spoken word poetry. I liked having a collective.
That was cool.
You know, a good balance of unorthodox acts, acoustic acts, and then your live band that would come in.
Yeah. There was a guy. One of the last times, maybe not last times I was there, but one time I was there kind of later on, he showed up with a banjo, and I was like, what?
Then I think there was like a guy with an upright bass who did some Eminem while playing an upright bass.
That's right.
And I said, now that's something you're never going to see anywhere else.
Exactly. That's phenomenal. I love it. That's awesome. So, all right, cool. So let's talk a little bit about what you guys are doing, like musically. I know you got a lot of projects. I don't know if you still have as many, but every time I see you guys on social media, there's Venture Out. There was some other cover band type stuff. What are you guys doing now?
So right now we're finishing recording our Venture Out album.
Awesome.
We have a 10-song album coming out to follow our 3-song EP debut that we had. That was called Elsewhere. Our new album is going to be called Further. Okay. And we just got to start working on that now, but everything's pretty much tracked. I mean, there may be a few touch-ups here and there, but we're kind of moving into the mixing and mastering, so that's exciting.
Okay. Yeah. Where did you record it?
So we did all of our drums at Gradwell Studios in Haddon Heights, which we've been... Since the Yeah Son days, our first band, we've been going there.
Okay. Shout out to Matt Weber.
Yes, Dave Downham, Matt Weber, and Steve, rest in peace. Yeah, all those guys are great, and you know what you're getting there.
Yeah.
But then everything else for the new Venture Out album, we did ourselves.
Oh, cool.
So we needed a good live room for drums. That's that multi-million-dollar room at Gradwell. And then we did any extra percussion we could think of there, and then our guitarist Chris Well, one of our guitarists, Chris, he is a good engineer. He has a lot of software and a lot of the equipment to do it. So we did a lot at his house. We came over to my house in my live room and we set up in there and did some tracks there. Nice. We brought in her brother who played in our old band, Yeah Son. He did some keyboard and stuff on our new album, a couple backup vocals too.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's very DIY, which is, it does give you a sense of accomplishment.
Sure. Yeah.
But I mean, you know,
it also saves you a few bucks.
That big perk of it.
Of course.
Yeah. But I mean, and it gives you the patience to really take your time and do it. You're not on a time crunch of like, okay, we paid for 12 hours. We can't take a break. We got to keep going. Milk that cow kind of thing. So there's that. And we're excited. We'll do a record release when that comes out.
Any idea when that's targeted for?
I mean, we started recording this back in last February, so it's been a slow process. So I don't want to jump the gun. We're hoping before the end of the year.
Okay,
but
cool.
With people coming out to shows, maybe push it to the next year for a release show. Just you know, mid-January, it snows out.
Sure,
your draw is not going to be very great.
That's true. Yeah. It's very true.
But I mean, unless we have 80-degree days like we did today.
I know, right? Beautiful today.
And then aside from that, we have our cover project, Hot Buttah and the Breakfast Toast.
Okay.
Which a lot of roots from the open mic thing of just learning 10 million songs. And we put together a mishmash of old band members and new band members. Cool. So it was the old drummer, Ty Pearl from Venture Out, or Yeah Son, excuse me. And then Alex from Venture Out. He playing guitar there with us. Nice. And, you know, that's just money-making party songs.
Yeah, right.
Kind of thing.
That's awesome.
That we have a show in November at Dominic's Tavern. We'll be playing there.
Yep. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then, what day do you know?
November 22nd.
November 22nd.
Yeah. So there's gonna be a wristband special with drink specials if you came to see the band. And
awesome. How's that work? I've never heard of that before.
I was just proposed it from the bar when I booked it with them. They said, like, you can say if you come to see the band, you can get a wristband where we're gonna pick as a band 3 drink specials that can apply to that wristband that night. So they want us to, what does our crowd want to drink? And put that on special. Yeah. So
it also gives somebody a little bit of incentive to come out too. You know, if you're going to get a discount or something, you know,
and it makes it feel more personal to them. Like, this is the place I want to be, kind of thing. They're going to cater to what I want.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
And then, I think that's it for what we've done. We're doing together because then I get around. I'm a little hoe in the music community.
Well, for us, the cover gig thing for us kind of changes every once in a while.
Okay.
So the show we have coming up is going to be for the full band, but we also do acoustic versions of it where sometimes it's a trio, sometimes it's a duo. We had recently played at the Rancocas Woods summer block party.
Oh, cool.
It was the summer block party. We did that, just the two of us. But we also have private parties that we do as well, and it just depends on what people want to have us do.
We just did a charity event at Valley Brook for
and that
was like
was
a golf outing.
That was our trio.
Nice.
We did that with
that's awesome.
One of our other drummers, Rob Williams from Venture Out. So everyone kind of just interchanges with what Hot Buttah and the Breakfast Toast is. I guess we're Hot Buttah and the Breakfast Toast can be interchangeable.
It's depending on if you're getting some toast with your breakfast. That changes from time to time. Right. And then I play bass in a band called Sweep Echo, which is like indie music and everything.
Actually, can I give a shout out to your open mic at Lily's Tavern?
Sure, thanks.
That's actually, we actually came out for an open mic there last year or the year before that, and they asked us to come back to do
that's awesome.
An acoustic trio thing. So we did that. We did like a few shows there as well, and that was really fun.
Months,
awesome.
So thank you.
You're welcome. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean that's great to see it come full circle. And now you're doing the open mic.
I know, right now I'm hosting it. We've been going for 2.5 years now, I think.
That's awesome.
So it's going,
fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even remember when the Harper's thing, it happened so sudden when I came in and they're like, it's the last one. And I was like, I could have tried to make this a big deal.
I know, right? I know, yeah. Every time I drive by there, because it's a liquor store now, for those that don't know, I'm tempted to go in there and kind of figure out where the stage was and just take like a selfie and be like, R.I.P. Harper.
Yeah.
I went in one time and it was like a shocking.
Yeah, I bet.
Like you could see where the stage was.
Oh, really?
It's just fridges.
Oh, that's sad.
And then there used to be the live room and the bar. It's just one giant room now.
Man.
It's
a shame.
I still wonder if the upstairs is haunted. It's like, I don't think you can sell the ghost.
Yeah, right. Yeah. All right. So let's kind of talk about your journey, like where you guys all started, right? So how about you, Melissa? Where did music kind of all start for you? How did it begin?
Oof. I've been singing since I was a little girl. As far as I can remember, like I've always just been singing to like myself and stuff.
Yeah.
I think I can pinpoint it mostly to like The Little Mermaid or something, like
Nice.
just like singing along like to the movie, like when I was a little girl. And then like I started taking it more seriously. I wanted to be in like the school choir and things like that. I did try instruments, and I tried like the drums, and I tried saxophone and all that stuff, but I wasn't as patient.
Okay. Yeah.
So I was like, oh, let me just try singing. And then that grew. So I started doing that like in middle school, and then like middle school, high school is when I started really taking it seriously with like talent competitions and things like that. And that's when I really started to like, all right, I think I have something here. But it didn't even occur to me to like be in a band until like way after. Like after college, I went to school for art. I'm an art teacher. That's my, my career. But I always had that passion. So like I found that outlet finally. So it just feels good to be able to have that, you know, like,
nice.
yeah.
Was there an event or something that kind of made it happen? Like, did you go to an open mic, or how did it?
So actually I don't know. I just like started searching like ads on Craigslist, and I found 5 Times Famous, which is Andrew Foster, Justin Cruz. I don't know if they're still doing it anymore, but they brought me in for an audition and like kind of told me what it was all about, you know. And they had me do like a little set with them at Pinsetters in Pennsauken.
Oh, cool!
And that was a lot of fun. That was like my first experience like singing in a cover band unofficially.
Right.
Turns out they went with somebody else, so it was fine though. Like I still enjoyed the experience, and it made me want it more.
You learned something from it, I'm sure.
So my brother, who also is a musician, he's been like playing keyboards all his life, and also started taking his singing a little more seriously. We were like, you know what? Like maybe we should start something, you know. And his best friend Danny also played guitar. We were kind of just like, getting into something. We didn't know what we were getting into. We're just kind of like, let's try this, you know? And then we put out an ad on Craigslist.
All right.
And all we had known at the time was Chili Peppers covers. So we put out an ad this is my brother. He put out an ad for a Chili Peppers cover band, like specifically.
Yeah.
And then apparently one of his parents,
it was my dad.
I think.
Oh, really?
Caught the ad on Craigslist and pointed out, hey, you guys know Chili Peppers music, like him and Rob.
Yep.
So they answered the ad, and they met up first, like with my brother. And then my brother was like, hey, I got these guys on drum and bass who want to audition. Like, they're going to come over to our house and audition. And I was like, all right. And it was like the rest was history. Like, I was like, maybe these guys know some Chili Peppers songs. I don't know. And then all of a sudden they know like every single one, and like they know it really well, and they're just like rocking it out. I'm like, where do these guys come from?
Awesome.
We were 18 years old and pretty arrogant and cocky about it too. We were like, oh, we're gonna go in and drop some old school 80s crazy, all cocained up Chili Peppers in there.
Now, were you playing bass, or did you?
Yeah, so that's where I do most of my damage playing. Where bass, like it made the most sense to me. It gave me the most natural feel as I tried to play it. Where going into other things, there's only so much you can play on a bass and just one person to perform. So guitar has to come with that as well. If you want to go out and even do a solo thing or do a thing, you got to have a guitar there, and then maybe tap your foot for some percussion or something. But yeah, I mean, I had an uncle who gave me a guitar, and I tried my hand at that. Wasn't that great at it, and I wanted drums, but of course, for a parent to get their kid a drum set, that's
a commitment,
that's a task. And so they didn't want to do that. So I started playing some guitar with Rob, who he was the Son drummer who started with me, left that, and now he's back as the Venture Out drummer. So full circled its way around.
Very cool.
So I started playing with him. We had a buddy come in. He brought a guitar and started ripping Van Halen and Metallica. So I said, all right, I'm not the guitarist anymore, apparently. So then Rob had a bass, and I was like, all right, let me let me pick this up and see. And the first song I learned was Schism from Tool.
Oh, sweet.
And
That's a
I
good
was
one.
like, all right, this makes more sense.
Yeah.
And so then we started playing like Seek and Destroy from Metallica and Carry On Wayward Son. And that all made sense on a bass. So I was like, all right, I think I just need 4 strings instead of 6. And then from there, I fell in love with the instrument. Once you learn all the Chili Pepper songs, that's when you get into jazz and start learning, you know, Les Claypool and Victor Wooten and stuff. And you're like, okay, Flea is really good, but I mean, there's another side of it.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah. And so that I started mostly on bass, but then when I write, I typically want to come up with an idea of a full song rather than just a bass line.
Okay.
So that leads me to write more on guitar. And ironically, bass is the last piece of instrumentation I usually put into a song.
That's funny.
That I'll write on guitar, and then I got GarageBand on my iPad and stuff. So I'll go in my live room, try to just listen and play drums to what I recorded on guitar and figure that out, try to play it to a click track. And that's where you get your eyes opened when you're not a drummer. Props to them. But I got some out. And then just building onto that. And then I'm like, hey guys, check out what I wrote and everything.
That's cool.
So that got around, and so I started learning other instruments, and I started getting out and play with other people very quickly because I just had a desire to play. Broaden horizons.
That's cool.
So I started playing with a band, Overcoming Gravity, way back when, was in and out of that. Played with a band which they're now under the name High Leaf, but it was these guys, Corey Presner and Pat Fior, and started playing some grunge stuff with them. They went through iterations. They were called Plantation, and we were called Distorted Sun. Now they're High Leaf. Plantation, they had to change it for obvious reasons. They didn't have a good sound to it.
We love them.
Yeah, great music.
Right. High Leaf, check them out.
And so then Yes I went on for a decade, and that just, kind of fell apart as things do over time.
Sure.
Started playing with Sweep Echo with my buddies, doing like indie stuff with there. And now I'm gone full circle to play lead guitar with a side project where I'm just playing with an agency part-time with my buddy Evan.
Oh, really?
He's got me playing lead guitar, and I'm like,
awesome.
This is the first time I ever soloed. That's been cool, just to keep experimenting and trying to learn something new, because, what's life if you're not going to learn something?
Right, exactly. That's very cool. Yeah, I even have a bass guitar. I bought a bass guitar off of Offered Up a long time ago. And I noodle around on. I am not by any means a bass player, but like kind of like how you described it, like if I'm writing something, I'll come up with a chord progression, and then I'll basically just play the root note of every chord on the bass guitar.
Yeah, give it something.
Fill it out a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not good on a keyboard. I think I could play Superstition because it's all the sharp black keys.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's like the one thing I can play.
I'm starting to dabble a little bit with keyboard.
Nice.
That's the next thing I want to try. Like, I want to get myself a keyboard. I actually was just recently doing voice lessons at School of Rock in Denver.
Oh, cool. Yep.
I'm not doing it right now, but I'm like, going back for like summer camps and things.
Nice.
And it's really fun working over there. But I actually learned a lot just doing vocal lessons there on just doing like scales on the piano and things like that. So I'm like, you know what? I want to try, doing some stuff like that for our music.
Just keeps bringing out art and youth. And speaking of that, I mean, that's a fond memory of Harper's. Your daughters would come and perform with you.
Yeah.
That's always great when you see kids getting into it so young with all the TikTok trends and stuff, that there's still like an original form of passion, of creativity.
Yeah, it's great. They continue to do it sometimes. Like I just brought them to my open mic. I don't normally have the kids when I do my open mic, but this one time I had them. So basically Leanne hosted the whole thing, and then I just brought them for a few hours, and then they got up and did a few songs with me and stuff. It was great.
That's amazing.
I love that.
I mean, it looked like they were having a great time.
Yeah. Well, my youngest, I mean, when I brought my youngest first, I messaged you and I was like, hey, I'm bringing my daughter. Can you put us first on the list? And you were like, yeah, sure. And then we get there, and she thought she was just going to go watch me play. And then we're in the car, and she's like, I can't believe I'm going to get to see you play on stage. And I was like, you're not just going to watch me. me. You're going to be up there with me singing. And she's like, what?
That's a jaw-dropping moment.
Yeah, exactly. And she was 6 years old at the time.
Oh man, but she was so like brave. Like she just like was up there and she had fun and you could just see it, you know, like the energy was there.
That ends up being a show-stopping performance. It's like, there she goes.
It was fun. It was great.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, so let's see what else. So when you've got original music with Venture Out. Who does the writing? Is that a whole collaborative thing, or is it both primarily you guys?
Yeah,
or?
I mean, that's one of the favorite parts of it is a very collaborative effort.
Okay.
I mean, I think every single member of the band has contributed creatively to that process. Nice. Like whether it's we all write something where we're just jamming together, or we each bring an idea for a song and we come together.
Okay.
And then lyrically, it was a big change with Venture Out that usually back in the Yeah Sundays, it was I'd write some music, hand it to the vocalist and be like, all right, do your thing, vocal it. So this time was the first time I actually got into some lyric writing. So
okay, cool.
And we've had group writing too, where it'd be me, Melly, and Alex all just spitting ideas and coming up with collaborative efforts, or I'll write something, or she'll write something. Alex was always writing different stuff. So I like that it's not just one person cranking everything out and everyone following in line.
Right.
And
I hear you.
I think that gives you the best product as you go back and look at some of my biggest influences like Led Zeppelin and Stone Temple Pilots, where yes, there was a feel that described their sound, but they would have such radically different sounding songs. Or even the Beatles could have like that as well too. But you know, you take something like Dear Maker from Led Zeppelin, it's like a reggae song. Yeah. And then you go to all their classic rock sounding stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Or like, something that's very piano heavy that John Paul Jones wrote, like Fool in the Rain. And it's just having that wide range of different inputs, I think, makes it more creative and more interesting to listen to.
Yeah. I also think there's just more potential, like when everyone's like giving their input and their effort, like even just last night, I was just talking about, man, I don't know if I was like satisfied with the last vocal track that I had. Like, I don't know. And like, you didn't sound too excited about it. So if you're not that excited about it, like right away, then maybe we need to go back. And like, we all kind of support one another. And like, she's like, oh, well, maybe we could try it like this. Maybe we could try it. And everyone's open to all of those ideas.
That's
so
great.
I feel like that's what really makes it work.
Yeah. I agree. I was in an original rock band long time ago, more than 20 years ago, probably. And we really had like one guy who kind of called all the shots, and he just happened to be the lead singer, and he wrote all the music and all that stuff. And it was such a nightmare, really, because you just didn't feel like you were part of anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You feel like you're more a worker than a partner.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and they're like your boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I've been in bands where it's not my band. I was asked to join it. So I don't try to tread in and be like, I don't like that. That's not how we're doing it. You got to play the role that you fit.
Absolutely.
Especially being a bassist. Sometimes they're like, just take your root note and you stay over there. Which, if you take
but then
band, you're not getting.
You can come back at them and be like, well, who else are you going to get? How many?
Exactly.
There's not bass players knocking down your door.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I played in that band Overcoming Gravity, every song, we didn't have a lead guitarist, so every song was like a bass solo.
Nice.
Because I'm not a very root note kind of guy.
I was going to say you're kind of all over. Yeah.
Well, I like that whole jam scaly walking around kind of thing.
Well, that's like, it reminds me of when you and I did the Love Song from The Cure.
Yes.
Because like when I do it by myself, it's just the chords and me singing. But then when you jumped up there with me, it was like a whole different vibe, because the bass guitar really does carry like the main riff and melody of that
so
song.
much in it. Yeah,
fills it out.
Even in instances where you could just hit a root note, I think if you arpeggiate it, then you just at least get an octave span of that note, and it just makes it sound a little more interesting. Now there are times where you have to hold back, but it's all contextual with what the feeling you're trying to convey and the spirit of the song calls for.
Yep, absolutely. So as far as musical like influences, right? I mean, with Venture Out, right? We'll talk about kind of that, because for those listening that don't know who Venture Out is, or who've never heard your music before, how would you guys describe what you guys are doing?
I would say like definitely alternative, melodic, but mixed with like hard rock. I feel like I don't ever want to compare ourselves to other bands that exist out there.
Sure.
However, I almost feel like anytime I do, people are like, "Oh, I see. I get what you're going for."
Yep.
So I'd say okay, like a mix of like Alice in Chains with like Incubus.
Nice.
With I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it also
Sarah
gets
McLachlan.
I wish. I'm still push those ideas. Going back to Stone Temple Pilots, I think it has that feel too because there's a wide range and everything.
Yep.
But it is almost natural to want to use an example to describe a sound rather than just give you a broad umbrella of say melodic rock with a heavy influence to it. A lot of how you can gauge it nowadays with the streaming sites and everything is once you upload your stuff on Spotify, algorithm starts working. It gives you suggestions after that. And it almost seems like we get like, because of having a female singer, Evanescence kind of stuff. Like,
Paramore.
Heavy with that pretty flair of a female's voice and not a gritty guy just singing.
Just like screaming into it.
Yeah, because some hard rock it can be an unconventional singer who's not necessarily your trained went to a vocal academy kind of singer where
well, that's me too. I'm not trained at all.
You're preaching to the choir. That's why I hide behind her. She makes me look good.
Hey, listen, I wasn't really like classically trained all that much either. Okay?
But it goes from the different influences.
We're all faking it till we make it.
Yeah, and that's from all the different influences, and that's why it's good to have a collective of musicians where she grew up of mostly a pop background and everything that she started branching into rock music and alternative stuff later where she started on Mariah Carey and
Christina Aguilera.
There you go. Nice.
Selena and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I was like always a grunge guy, but then when I started playing bass, I'm like, all right, well, I gotta have slap in there.
Yeah.
Chili Peppers,
absolutely.
and then you get in all the prog and all that stuff. Like my dad was a huge Van Halen guy, Rush, so I was always into that.
Nice.
Alex, he's always been into a lot of indie stuff. Like he's always been about Sufjan Stevens.
Oh, I love
Bjork is his biggest thing.
Really?
He's all about Bjork now.
That's interesting.
And so
I would not peg him for a Bjork guy.
He will surprise you with
really.
Oh yeah, but then that's got almost like an electronic feel to it. Sometimes there's still the raw musicianship of it as well. And then Rob and Chris, the other guys in Venture out there, like grew up metalheads kind of thing.
Tool.
Nice.
Yeah, Tool.
Yeah.
Well, their dad was also a classic rock guy, but definitely they would go see like heavy metal bands live, but then they would also go see like the G3 tour with like Satriani and Steve Vai and everything.
That's awesome.
So you get this nice blend of everything that comes together, which is why the melodic rock almost feels like the best umbrella statement, because we're going to have heavy stuff. We're going to write off timing things. We're going to have progressions and make it very like storyboard kind of songwriting, but then she's going to bring it home with like the hooky pop vocals.
That's
on
awesome.
top
I love that.
And harmonies.
And then working the harmonies, and then we'll just brainstorm harmonies sometimes to try to come up with cool stuff. And luckily, I think all but Chris, everyone likes singing in the band. So
we'll get him.
Rob once in a while I have a little drum next to microphone next to the drum kit.
Okay.
So he can kick it in once in a while.
Nice.
If it gets abused, just hit the mute button.
That's hilarious. I love it. No, I went talking about like the different styles and all this stuff. When you were hosting Harper's, one thing that really impressed me about you was that you would never I never saw you play the same song twice. Right.
Yeah.
Unless we started requesting stuff like later in the night. But like when you did your set in the very beginning, it was always something that I had never seen you play before. You even attempted that Elton John song like a day after not Elton John, Olivia Newton-John, the day after she passed away, and I was like, give it up for Max, man. Like
it was a goal. He would set a goal like every week. He's like, all right, I think I'm going to learn this one this week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes from what we talked about earlier of just wanting to do something new and just wanting to challenge yourself and break from the norm.
Yep.
And I think that when you're hosting an open mic, and this was weekly, so every Wednesday, I was like, I don't want to just go in and recycle like you hear we do the same songs in a month.
Yep.
So I took it as an opportunity to grow the master list by 5 pages kind of thing.
Phenomenal.
And so I would come home from work at the hospital. I'd get home and have about an hour and a half to 2 hours before I had to get to Harper's. And so I would try to just pick 3 songs throughout the day at work, go home and just go into it as fast as I could.
Awesome.
Try to just listen to it while I'm in the shower and then just go. And
that's awesome.
I love it because it helps you get around. I mean, now I'd say with even playing lead guitar and stuff, I'm a little more reliant on my iPad of having that on the mic stand. What that again goes with wanting to do something new, because one of my favorite things that I'm doing at these acoustic duo gigs I'm doing is we're taking requests. And pulling out songs that I've never tried to learn before. But I'm loving it.
How do you do that? I mean, are you are you are you well versed enough in music theory that you can be like, all right, this song's in C, so the minor chord is going to be the A? Like, do you kind of figure that stuff out? Or
so actually, I'm not versed in music theory at all.
Okay, so then how do you play a song that you've never played before?
I've listened to the radio so much through,
so as long as you know kind of how the melody goes, you can stumble through
it. It would have to be a song that you recognize.
Working in a common space like a hospital where you're going to get people putting on playlists or hear just like B101. You hear so many songs, and usually what you're getting requested at a bar at 2 a.m. is something that is
top 40
friends in low places.
What's it, Sweet Caroline?
Right. Yep.
I mean, I had to laugh. The one gig we did, it was the Green Parrot up in what's the town? Newtown. City.
Yep.
We had this group of frat guys there who were just going with every top 40, like every band plays it.
Every
song.
Banger,
They requested American Girl. They requested Sweet Caroline. They requested Drift Away. From Dobie Gray. And,
That's awesome.
And then someone requested Your Love from the Outfield. And I was like, all right, well, we never tried any of those 4 songs. We did every single one that night. But
that's awesome.
The power of the iPad, you go on Ultimate Guitar, and a lot of times it's just me and him we're used to doing that, so we'll just put on the scroll feature. Literally read as we go. And then if I can figure out the lead, I mean, it's just knowing for playing for 20-something years, just where I should be. I've learned everything in a numbers way rather than a music theory way.
I hear that's a good way to do it. Like when you say numbers way, are you talking about
like tablature?
Okay, like the number of fret.
Right, and then you can know that the full step is skipping a fret, chromatic is just going up, and then I could try to talk like I know what a Phrygian scale is, but I know that once in a while you hit one note that shouldn't be there.
Right, and he's like, I meant to do that.
Yeah, and if it sounds off, that's jazz.
That's exactly right. Yep. All right, cool. Let me see what else. Any big? Well, I mean, we know we have the Adventure Out album coming out, hopefully end of the year, maybe beginning of 2026. Anything else you guys wanted to talk about or promote before we get to the performance?
I mean, right now it's just finishing that album up, and then going with the cover stuff. We're trying to build that. We do have a lot of private parties coming up, but the DOMS is going to be a big stepping stone for that. Because it's one thing when you're trying to do it like how you do it, where you're doing it yourself rather than sign to an agency and let them do the work and charge you X amount.
I book 99.9% of my own shows.
So we're getting into a lot of that. It a little challenging with like outside jobs and stuff. I was telling you, I just started a new job, so I haven't been home very often. Yet on when I'm out in South Dakota or something, I'm on the phone with bars trying to like, all right, I can do this. We just booked a wedding next year that we're going to be doing.
That's awesome.
Which is going to be interesting. It says it's like a goth theme wedding. So
really? That's cool.
On Halloween, yes. Awesome. And so they might want some heavy stuff.
I'm sure they will.
See how much they want to get turned up at this wedding. But yeah, I mean, I'd say just follow us online, Venture Out and Hot Buttah Music. You can find us all the streaming platforms.
At Venture Out Band on
Venture
Instagram.
Out Band,
and Hot Buttah Music, Buttah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I think as the year's wrapping up, we're going to try to fill out some things, but look forward to a big 2026. Man. Hopefully, if this DOMS gig goes well, we'll be there kind of consistently, and then just building around the area of anyone who wants to party.
Anybody listening who knows Max and Melissa who's been to the Harper's open mic, if you're free that day, the Dom gig, when is that? November what?
November 22nd.
November 22nd.
9 to midnight.
9 to midnight. Do yourselves a favor. Go see those guys. And, hey, these guys have both done a major service to the music industry in South Jersey with all the stuff they've been doing. So they deserve your support. So go out and check them out at Dom's.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you guys for doing the podcast.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
having us, man.
Thanks for having us.
It was fun.
Right.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. This first one is called Solace in Time. And it's basically about finding your happy place when you feel the most creative.
Yeah, a song kind of about writing a song.
Taking my mind away for a Sunday stroll, diving deep down in the page to bare my soul. Solace in time, now I'm finding a haven here. Look past the lines, and the picture is painted clear. I'm in a haze when I feel the vibrations of a winding maze from the sound that is playing now, wandering aimlessly with no end in sight, using my scattered script as a guiding light, finding a hiding place from reality, discovering ways to exist in duality. Solace in time, now I'm finding a haven here. Look past the lines, and the picture is painted clear. I'm in a haze when I feel the vibrations of a winding maze from the sound that is playing now. And I'm finally free to find myself. Taking my mind away for a Sunday stroll, diving deep down in the page to bare my soul. Solace in time, now I'm finding a haven here. Look past the lines, and the picture's painted clear. I'm in a haze when I feel the vibrations of a winding maze from the sound that is playing now. And I'm finally free to find myself.
Nice.
All right, so this next one's called Elsewhere. Basically, it's about drifting away from a situation that you are no longer in or no longer serves you. It could be, it's vague. It could be about a friendship. It could be about a relationship. It could be something that is just a transition in your life.
And the history on the music itself actually is a tune that Max has been playing in the background of our lives for like 10 years, and finally decided to bring it to venture out, and that's when we finally got to really conceive it as like a song. So I'm just excited about it.
It's called Elsewhere.
Watching our days go by and by, the contemplation, why do we try? Have we been wearing some disguise? Free fall from the open sky. It's time to sail ahead. I'd rather be there instead. Get you out of my head. It's time to sail away. I know you want me to stay, but I must go my way. We watch nights turn to day when nothing stood in our way. Our nights have drifted elsewhere. We've done anything for you, I swear. And now the sun sets on our day. Will without me you'll find your way. Hey, it's time to sail ahead. I'd rather be there instead. Get you out of my head. It's time to sail away. I know you want me to stay, but I must go my way.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.